Absolutely crazy day in the markets, and I told you yesterday to expect the unexpected. Today we got just the type of pump that perma bears or people that are overly weighted on shorts would absolutely be dreading. And it comes from a combination of several pieces of news. First of all, let's talk about the big story of the day. Elon Musk buying Twitter officially, as it might seem, I don't know how official this is, but it sounds like they're back to where they started with the original share price. And so it's no surprise that when Elon announced that he was buying Twitter at $52, the share price just exploded up to $52. Now, the reality is under Elon Musk's watchful eye, will Twitter be worth way more? That's what people are probably banking on right now, is that at the very least, it'll be worth what they're pricing it at, if not more. The big question here is Elon predicting that the stock market has more or less bottomed and that this is a good time and that he's not going to get like a much better price on the Twitter shares? Because obviously if Twitter started sinking down to the $20 mark, he could probably get a much better deal on the overall buyout. So is Elon betting right now that we are sort of at or near a bottom, or that equities don't have much more downside risk? That is a big question. What we also saw is that Dogecoin exploded, pumping like mad as the Twitter news came out. And that's because, of course, Elon has mentioned before that he wants to incorporate Dogecoin into his new Twitter. Will that happen? Will any of this happen? Nobody knows, but this is all affecting our precious markets. So we're going to talk a little bit about this again at the end, but just know Elon's sort of Twitter debacle has had all kinds of huge implications on the stock price. And, what Elon does in general tends to have a massive, massive impact on stock prices. For the most part, Tesla had a horrible day the other day. And so it's just kind of a tale of two cities with Elon right now. But the reality is that we also have another massive piece of news, which is that Russia's adding Bitcoin as a viable payment rail for all industries. For all industries, they're going to say anyone can get paid or trade in Bitcoin, which is a massive, massive leap for them. You wonder whether effectively Bitcoin will be the big winner if there is a global conflict here where traditional payment rails and banking rails get separated. Again, this is something that I've tried to think a few steps down the line, but I do think that, a global conflict might actually make Bitcoin incredibly desirable as this sort of neutral currency, because currencies are so politicized, and of course, you're not gonna have the same currency on both sides of the war. And so, is Bitcoin, does it become like the super currency in a time where US dollars become, unusable by the second world or anything like by, Russia, China, or whatever? It's a super interesting state of affairs as it pertains to what might happen to Bitcoin with increased hostilities from Russia. I'm certainly praying and hoping that this doesn't escalate, but if it does, like, the big question is like, what happens? And is this something that does favor Bitcoin from a market structure? I would put my bets on immediately, maybe not, but over time, yes. Like maybe there's a freak out in the markets where people try to exit markets, but then they get back into Bitcoin as they see that it's being used to transact cross border or globally. Finally, we also have some relief in the bond markets. Remember, we were talking a lot about the sovereign debt crisis and what sovereign debt is really doing to the market. Actually, I just realized that's a video I haven't released, so that's coming out. But we have a sovereign debt video coming out. It's a very, very big video. Some incredible research by my team that I'm super proud to present to you guys. And what's going on right now with the sovereign debt issues is a really big deal, and it needs more stability in the bond market. But with this whole changeover today, we saw relief in bonds, a pump in the stock market, pump in Bitcoin. We also saw the Twitter news with Elon Musk, the Russia Bitcoin news, and then we've also seen a little bit of news that might indicate that effectively there's just been some liquidity added back to the markets. If you look at the net liquidity chart, which is something that is one of the most important charts to look at, the total net liquidity in markets, we saw that there was a massive pump in total net liquidity, this time through the reverse repo market. I'm gonna explain this in a different video, but effectively this was a change to net liquidity that was positive. Remember, we were saying the more money in the market, the higher prices, kind of that simple, and the total net liquidity is a chart that effectively takes into account all of the money in the market. And that chart, despite the fact that Fed is removing liquidity from the markets, just had a massive pump today, which kind of coincides with the market structure of today. So keeping an eye on liquidity, understanding to expect the unexpected, that these massive crushing bear markets are possible, and that it's even possible that we end up with a really extended market rally right now, as I was alluding to yesterday. Today was a really bullish day. This is why we don't just short aggressively, even though I do believe over time we're going to see new lows. I'm still of the camp that we're going to see new lows. However, what's happening right now is it's mixed right now. It's mixed, the feedback, but there's still a lot of things, a lot of big structural issues. For example, OPEC is still now upgrading the amount of oil they're going to cut from 1.5 million barrels a day to now 2 million barrels a day, because they want to send oil prices through the roof. They want to get oil prices back sky high. And that is very bad for inflationary issues in the West. And there's still an energy crisis in the West. There's a currency crisis in the West. There's a debt crisis in the West. There's a lot of things that have not just been resolved by a small pump here in the stock market. However, the big question is trying to understand and anticipate when peak inflation has been reached and when things might start getting easier for the Fed and they can start loosening conditions once again. That is going to be one of the most important moments here coming up, and I hope that I can nail it right. I'm going to go ahead and guess that I won't have a perfect reading on the bottom. I'm not like saying I'm going to perfect. Sheesh. All right. I'm going to give away something to someone who says bless you in the comment section. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. But look, I'm not going to say I'm going to perfectly nail the bottom here. I'm going to start DCAing here over the next few, in this next section of the market, because it's going to be a long time, I believe, to accumulate at these levels. But I also think that the market's becoming super unpredictable. The Fed's starting to worry about financial stability. There's all kinds of pumps happening on net liquidity. There's a lot of factors. And we might be starting to see the first cracks showing here where the Fed would start to step in. Not just yet, but I'm really, really fascinated with the market today. And I think it's a really hard market to predict. And I think that slow and steady, patient, no FOMO, don't get overly enthusiastic on either side of this, aggressively longing or shorting, and steady accumulating the best assets over the next few years is the way to go. That's the play I'm going to be putting into effect. And mostly I'm super excited because there's so many big updates over the next few weeks with the projects that I've been working on, the Super Farm ecosystem, imposters, and the marketplace and everything we have going on. And so I'm just sort of extremely excited from a builder's perspective because I'm going to get to release so much stuff that this community deserves. I'm planning the ultimate GM, the ultimate good morning for all of my friends and my Web3 buddies here, my crypto buddies out there, community members, and I'm hoping to make my biggest contribution ever to the space over the next coming few weeks and months, and I'm very excited to do it with you all. So if you guys are excited, smash that like button, subscribe. We have some incredible research coming out for you over the next few days and weeks, and yeah, I hope you guys have been liking the new channel, the new content on the channel. I hope you guys have been appreciating the sort of more generalized focus on markets, on economy, on economics, and yeah, I'm going to keep upping my personal game, my content game, and try to bring the best analysis in the space. If you guys are excited for that, all you got to do is subscribe. It's free. It will always be free, and I'll work my butt off for you guys. So cheers, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.